Hey guys, so I'd like to address yesterday's video. I don't want to stir any controversy and cause any panic or any reason for people to be concerned really, but I was just addressing some facts, honestly. Everything I say, I kind of stand by. I may have jumped into things too soon, and maybe my tone and attitude towards it was a little bit feeling negative, but by no means I was negative. I love the company, and I'm a shareholder. I'm buying every day, actually. So I'm not bearish. If I gave you any vibe like that, I apologize. But again, I am just a YouTuber. You should not make any financial decision from me. And I definitely don't know anything when it comes to these 10Ks. It's kind of my first time diving in. I think I mentioned that. If I didn't, I apologize. But nonetheless, obviously you should dive in and learn your own things from it. I kind of just did a rough skim of it. I just jumped into it real quick. It was the same day it was released. I wanted to post the video the same day. But I want to talk about some other things here and why I'm actually really bullish on the company, and just address some of the concerns of yesterday with the dilution, the Amphibious stuff that I said looks like it might not be happening. But I also want to mention real quick that I am a macro guy. I don't dive into the details. I like to just look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that, looking at the 10K, there is dilution. You can't deny that. But it's not necessarily a bad thing, and we'll get into that. Just like there is good depth and bad depth, it's not necessarily a bad thing. So really quick, I want to just talk about this line that I mentioned yesterday that really should be kind of the overarching thesis to the video. Even though there is dilution, even though there may be, cash problems, which actually I don't think there isn't. We'll get to in a second actually here. It's important to be directionally correct rather than mathematically precise. I really like that statement. I don't know where I heard it, but I think basically what I'm trying to say here is, even though, they are diluting, every company is. Like Joby and Archer are doing it at a more extreme level. All these eVTOLs are pre-revenue. It's completely normal, but people are still investing in it. And why? Because, well, you're directionally correct. We are trying to, solve this problem of, better transportation, right? So real quick, jumping into here, actually, why did you buy it in the first place, right? You have to ask yourself that. You can't make a sale because of some dilution concerns. I think why I got it in the first place is I naturally just, like, when I saw the plane fly, when I saw their aircraft in general compared to all the other ones, it made sense to me. It looked more aerodynamic. It could carry a lot more in cargo. Like all the numbers, everything about it just made more sense. So design-wise, it was like the best. It achieved a big milestone that all the other ones kind of didn't. Very few did. And the other ones that did had a valuation that were just crazy. This was the smallest valuation. So for me, it made most sense for these three reasons. You have to ask yourself why it made most sense for you. And if dilution was, dilution was always planned, by the way. Jumping into here real quick. It was planned from the beginning, right? All these companies are diluting. I was just pointing out that, there is dilution and it was growing. And in fact, 2026, it's going to grow even more by the sound of, what it looks like, because they're going to be scaling and growing and building the X7. And they have a lot, in their careers. As you see, they're growing the team. So they are going to have more operating expenses. They are going to be diluting more, but we know that that's planned. That's not something to really be so concerned about. All the companies are doing it, right? In fact, in the whole video, I actually mentioned more green flags than red flags. And I think this guy, even Anthony here, even mentioned that. I think the red flags and green flags ratio on the cover is slightly off. Should be 3 red flags and 17 green flags. And yeah, I did that, it's just to be a little more clickbaity and, have a better thumbnail, but it is what it is. Like, it just, if you actually watch the video, he's right. There's actually a lot more good things I said than bad things. Dilution is the only kind of concern, but it is completely normal, and there's nothing to really be so worried about there. And actually, there was a clip in the Substack. I know we're jumping around here a bit, and I know you guys don't like that too much, but that's the nature of these unscripted videos and being able to make videos for you guys. If I had scripted videos and had to make presentations, I would pump out like one video a month, to be honest. I mean, this is not my job. I'm not making anything from this, and I'm actually quite busy with what I do. I'm kind of an entrepreneur myself and doing multiple different things. I'm juggling, but I had a minor in economics, which, speaking of macro, is something I really like, but wanted to actually, okay, let's just go by order. So be directionally correct and mathematically precise. Let's try this real quick. I wanted to give a 30-second elevator pitch just to remind people, because I don't like repeating myself in the videos too much. So, you know, if you watch any of my past videos, it's usually something I haven't said before. So I want to just make a little 30-second elevator pitch, reminding people, you know, what HOVR is. If you're kind of maybe just watching this video for the first time, or maybe it's your second video or whatever, but just a little bit, let's try this. I never tried this, but why I like HOVR in 30 seconds, kind of. All right, I'm putting a timer right now, and this will beep at the end of 30 seconds. All right. HOVR, new company in the stock market. It's only been around for a short period of time. And right as it came about, it dropped. It is extremely low in market cap. Almost any other company in the market cap, similar to where it's at, is at an extremely high valuation. It has honestly, what I think is the best-in-class design. It makes the most sense to me. And, well, okay, that's the end of my 30 seconds. There's a $1 trillion market cap coming, and it's going to win. Okay, boom. I need to practice that. That was definitely not good. All right, you can look at my other videos and learn more about HOVR. But nonetheless, let's jump into this next part here. 17.5 million up top. All right, so I was talking about in my last video that something is brewing up. It said that they have 7.5 million in cash at the end of May 31st, 2025. And in the LinkedIn, they claimed that they have 17 million. So I asked, where is that 17 million? Because it doesn't show up in the 10K. And in fact, Brandon did confirm that it is the current cash on hand as of yesterday. And that means since May 31st till August 22nd, they basically got another $10 million. I don't know where, I don't know how, but that is good news. So bullish signs there. Amphibious. I spoke about Amphibious yesterday, that if you search Amphibious, in fact, actually I was trying to search even islands or Hawaii and things like that, and I didn't really find too much about it. But that doesn't mean that it isn't here. I mean, that doesn't mean that they aren't working on it. It was kind of like the initial reason they started the company is to build an amphibious aircraft. I'm sure they're going to come back to it at some point. But right now, they're focused on, you know, this eVTOL industry that's going to 1 trillion to 9 trillion in 20 years. And yeah, so Amphibious is not, you know, probably something they're talking about in the 10K, but I'm sure it's probably in the roadmap at some point. So I just want to address that because I did mention that it's probably not going to be around anymore. I said bye-bye Amphibious, but I could be and probably am wrong there. So I apologize for that. Dilution concerns, we spoke a little about that, but again, it's normal. All companies do it, and it is basically, okay, it's not inherently bad. Dilution, you know, they need the money to fund their pre-revenue, and it makes sense. We all understand that. And they need the money for, you know, they're growing. They're using it for good things, right? Their team is growing. They're not spending it on, you know, lawyers for a lawsuit or something. That would be concerning, right? They actually are not even under a penny anymore. I mean, under $1 anymore. So they're, you know, Their NASDAQ compliancy is fine. They're not going to have a stock split. Also, they don't plan to kind of have any real like hurting shareholders is what Brandon said. I'm going to play a clip in a moment here. Let's see. Did we go over all this? Why did you first buy it yourself? You have to ask yourself that. More green flags and red flags. Okay, let's jump to this clip real quick.
I'll be frank, 99% of the microcaps in our sort of space have a difficult time with it, right? They're forced into these investment banks that underwrite very aggressive deals with steep discounts, and as death spiral financing is a thing. We're the 1%, so we have a very strong financial backer. I mean, you can look up in public records that comes from a solid aerospace background, that is very, very interested in the long-term vision and supporting us in a manner that's very respectful for the shareholders, because he's a very large shareholder, and in a let's say in an honorable way. So no dumping, no mechanisms that are sort of going to hurt any shareholders. So anything that we structure going forward, there's going to be some dilution, but and mark my words, you can see the filings when they come out. We are going to extreme measures to protect shareholders.
So he explains way better than I will. That's why I wanted to play that clip. Also, shout out to that Substack. I'll link that below if you guys want to check that out. You do have to kind of make an account. So I hope I don't know if I hope I'm allowed to play that, but it's just a little clip. I just wanted to really show you guys that what he's talking about. Look, I'm not wrong. Dilution concerns are a real concern. But as he said, they're trying to protect shareholders. He's not trying to do, the measures that all the other companies are doing, that they go through this death spiral financing, and then they have to take measures like stock splits and, all sorts of other things. There's so many things. Stock splits is just one of the most simplest and biggest ones that we all understand. But nonetheless, like he said, they're all kind of going through, different measures to get funds, and they're the 1% that has a good backer like Canso, which is incredible for us and for them. And we spoke about that if you saw the interview, and we've spoken about that before. It's in my short also. That's the company has 60 billion under management, all in bonds, and then they just own HOVR. They actually own a couple other companies, which I looked up, and I'm trying to figure out some more info. I'll get back to you guys on that on a next video. But it's extremely interesting and very great that they are kind of they're actually partnered with HOVR in a way. Not partnered, but heavily invested. They're like a 34% shareholder. You can check out in the Reddit, actually. The numbers are all there. I don't remember. But I like how he talks about that they're the 1%. And most people do go through, these concerns. And also most companies are, not most people, most companies are also not solving a big problem. They are in a huge, their market cap potential is huge from where they're at right now. And I don't want to talk too much about that. But also later in the video, I don't want to put too many clips because I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to with that. As I said, I'm a new YouTuber, so take all my advice and opinions with a grain of salt. But something he mentions in the video, which you can check out for yourself, is that he says if he was an independent investor, he would look toward these 4 things, and he mentions a high quality team and that the team is growing, which checkbox, they're doing that, and they have an incredibly high quality team. As we said, it's all technical, it's all engineers, it's all they're not hiring accountants and lawyers and marketing people or whatever. So that's extremely bullish. Full scale tech is working. We know the half scale tech is working. I mean, it's beyond working. Honestly, I want them to make money from that already. Maybe on my next talk or call with Brandon, I would really like to ask him why are we waiting, or are they actually maybe going to scale the half scale and start selling it as UAVs or some other things? But all right, yeah, that's something to think about, and that's actually really bullish for us, right? That they're gonna they could already sell the half scale, even if the full scale tech doesn't work. That doesn't mean the company's going down. They could already sell the X5, so that's already great. I mean, and the fact that Canso's behind them, I think we're really at like the lowest of lows, guys. Like, guys, this is really an incredible investment. I need to buy more, and I need to find a little more information out about this Canso stuff, because if what I heard is true, this is incredible. Okay, I'll just give you guys like the little snippet and I'll confirm in the later video, but Canso is invested in very few companies. They're all bonds, like we already said, but the few other companies they are invested in might kind of work with HOVR, as in the infrastructure, or I don't know, not necessarily vertical integration, but like whatever it may be, like they can help HOVR. So the other companies they're invested in, basically, if they succeed, they help HOVR, and HOVR will succeed. So it's like a win-win. So they're investing in other companies I'm repeating myself, but if that is true, that is going to be incredible. I'm extremely bullish on that. I have to find out more information on that. It could just be a myth. I could be wrong. But even if I'm not wrong, we have the X5 that we can be selling. And we know the full-scale tech is working from, that's what he said he would be asking. And from everything he's saying, everything it sounds like, with the half-scale working, I see no reason why the full-scale would not work. From everything I've been saying also, I really have no red flags. Like, dilution is normal. It's basically good debt. So I don't know. People are a little concerned in my last video, but I just want to apologize for that. Okay, certification progress. He would ask about certification progress, and they are literally they're going after the TCCA certification, not the FAA, which in that same video that you just watched, he mentioned that the FAA has like 600 plus applications, which is crazy to think about. I'm sure Joby and Archer kind of are the leaders in there. So if they were going after FAA, it would probably take a long time and probably extremely costly. With a TCCA, or did I get the letters right? Nonetheless, I think it was like 3 C's. The Canada the Canada certification process. Have on the board John Maris, and this is extremely interesting to me because John Maris is actually also a shareholder in the company, so he literally has an invested interest to, certify them so they succeed. So like that is an incredible win-win, and not only he's on the board, he also mentioned in the same video, that Substack video, Brandon mentioned, that their company is probably the leading company in Canada certification. So, I'm sure Canada doesn't have 600 applicants, but even however many they have, HOVR is number one. They're probably going to be the first to get certified, as it also says in many places on the 10K. And we kind of went over a little bit of that. Well, mostly the FICI certification, they're going to be the first for that. But yeah, that's extremely bullish. So we have here win, and number 4, comparison to other companies, big win. Like I said, why did you invest in the company in the first place? Valuation, I understood that, compared to other companies, they're extremely, extremely small. Let's look at this real quick. I don't know how accurate this is. This is ChatGPT, but still. Horizon Aircraft, this was when they flew their X5, and it did its first full transition flight. Market cap was about 40 million, 39 million, versus Lilium, when they did it, was about $500 million, versus Archer, about 1.18 billion. I thought Archer was about 500 million. Maybe I'm wrong. Whether it's $500 million or 1 billion, and maybe if Lilium's even wrong, the point is, where HOVR stands compared to where all the other companies stand. And Joby's not on here, by the way, because they did it in 2017, which they were private at the time. So where HOVR stands compared to other companies, their market cap is extremely small. And as we've seen in Brandon even said in many interviews, he's hinted at it. He can't say it. I feel like he just wants to say it and he isn't saying it, but he's like trying to yell secretly, quietly out of the top of his lungs that they are extremely cheap, extremely undervalued. It's like he's yelling it and shouting it to us and like just trying to hint it. I just feel it. But yeah, I like how he mentions compare us to other companies. Like that is like the hint right there for me. And I went over that in another video. You can check out that. But I think that this chart here sums it up. Like there's really just a handful of companies that no company is like them that actually had a full transition and is this small on market cap. That is one of the big reasons I started investing in them. Also, as we said, they really have best-in-class design. And yeah, they just are one of the few companies who's achieved this incredible milestone. And okay, another thing that someone pointed out, I don't know if it was in the YouTube or Reddit, but after certification, funding will be easy to get. Of course, I agree with that actually. Like after they get certified and the plane, the full scale works kind of just like the X5 and, the stock went up, and the stock went up because, not because retail investors, it's because other, venture capital, or not necessarily venture capital, but like maybe, other investors basically, not retail, were funding it because they saw, oh, this is working. And once they get certified for the X7, funding will be easy and production will follow. Sorry, my mouth was dry. Better now. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is the production part, I was actually really thinking about that and a little bit concerned because, well, also the reason all the other companies are extremely high in value, like Archer, Joby, even Eve Holdings. Brandon mentioned this. They're trying to go after both parts, building the aircraft and then also operating it, like Uber taxi, right? And that takes actually two different certifications. There's a, certification for actually making the aircraft and then certification for operating it. So they're only going after the first one, not the latter. And the other companies are going after the latter, which is an extremely harder part to go after. And he explains how it's basically like two separate companies, operating it and then actually building it, which he's right. And also he mentions how that's kind of like illegal in airplanes. Like Airbus and Boeing can't have an airline and actually operate and fly people, right? They can only make the planes. And that's for a reason. And it's interesting that Archer and Joby and some other companies are going after the operation because maybe they'll change those laws. And in fact, what I really like about this company, and if you're sticking around, this is thanks for sticking around. This is something I think that's really bullish that almost no other company is doing in the eVTOL space. HOVR partnered with the 3C company, the certification company of John Maris, extremely early in the beginning before even like building the X5. What that means is, compared to all the other companies that haven't, that they basically, like everything they built, they're making sure they're following the protocol of getting certified. Imagine there's like a rubric to following the rules of how to get certified. They are following the rubric. Whereas all the other companies didn't partner with anyone. They just kind of built their aircraft. And then now they're like looking at the rubric and being like, okay, can you guys change the rubric for us? Basically, like they're working with the FAA and trying to spend so much money. And that's why these companies are, well, also because the operating thing, they're, working on vertiports and stuff which HOVR doesn't even need vertiports because they can land anywhere, even on water and ice, which is, crazy. We spoke about Amphibious a bit. Yeah, That's just some really crazy stuff. So if all that is you know, the fact that they're valued so low and they're going after everything the right way. All these other companies are valued so high and they're going after it the wrong way. It's just like crazy to me. Like, I don't know. I feel like we're at a point of like, okay, we really have. Brandon mentioned this at the end of my video. Like, he said something. I gotta find that clip. Watch at the end of that video. He said something like, "Your viewers are lucky; they have information that most people don't know." He was hinting at like this is like extremely like low key, basically. So I don't know what information he's talking about, but overall speaking, like all the information, I'm bullish on everything. Dilution is normal. Don't be concerned. All these companies are doing it. Like, not even in eVTOL, all the other pre-revenue companies in every other industry. So, yeah, this is just going to be crazy. I am getting more and more bullish by the day. I need to buy more of this company. Thanks for watching. I think this is good enough. I'm going to fall. I have a video I've been waiting for a month to release already. It's not scripted. It's unscripted, but when I release this, you're going to understand why I think HOVR will win. Or at least understand why all these other companies will not win. So, nonetheless, thank you so much for watching. I hope I didn't scare any of you guys in that last one, and you guys are just, you all understand, where we are, and that this company is one of the best in the space. And yeah, until next time, stay thinking, question everything, and peace out.